Hey guys, today I'm going to talk to you about 7 ugly truths about Google that you should probably know about even before you go online, and especially if you use Google on a regular basis. So, the first one that you should be aware of is that Google tracks your location. And they don't just track your location when you're using Google Maps or other maps on your phone or on your computer. If you have Google apps of any sort installed on your computer or use Gmail and have that logged in on your phone, uh, Google can track you. And I've actually, when I first heard about this, I went to google.com.myhistory or whatever the site is that allows you to see all the searches you've done online and your location history even, and the location history is super detailed. It shows wherever you've been for however long you've been using Google, and it's super detailed down to the minute. Shows you can track where you drove to work this morning, when you went to the grocery store, and all that stuff. So it's kind of creepy. If you didn't know that Google's tracking you, you can go into your settings in your Google account and turn that off completely. Um, there have been issues with Google in the past where people have found out that they're still being tracked even after they've said or they've asked Google not to. So that's one issue. The second thing is that Google uses information in your Gmail account to track your travel plan. So if you book a plane ticket through Southwest Airlines, for example, you might notice that you get a notification from Google asking if you want to add this flight to your calendar, which is a nice convenience, but it also means that Google then knows where you're going and what dates you're traveling, so they can use that information to target you with ads related to wherever you're going, and give you ads for activities there. Third is that Google attempts to guess your age based on the browsing that you do and the information it tracks about you. For example, if you go to sites that a lot of people in their early 20s are interested in, Google will use that information to make an assumption that you're in that age range. Um, I looked, and I think Google gives like a 8 year or 8 to 10 year age range, so it probably isn't exact, but it's still kind of weird that they're able to even guess that information. But because they have billions of users and get information about those billion people, um, I guess it's a little easier for them to do that than, say, the average person. Next up, Google tracks you on the sites that you visit. So even if you're not on google.com or any other Google website, a lot of websites, actually most websites, use Google Analytics, which means whenever you visit those, like pixel fires or a script runs or something on those pages, and sends that information back to Google Analytics. Google can then link that browsing with your Google account if you're using a device that it recognizes and associates with your account. So Google knows pretty much all the websites you visit, and even what pages you look at on that website, how long you spend on the site, and what sort of information you're interested in. Google also attempts to make you share your contact data. So you may have noticed that when you're using a Google app on your phone, for example, you might be prompted to share your contacts with Google so that they can scan your contacts and see if there's any numbers or email addresses that it can link with your contacts, which is fine and may provide some level of convenience, but giving Google access to everyone in your network can be a privacy issue. Next, Google has been linked to PRISM, which is a government surveillance program, and it's been sold to the American people as being something that will help protect national security by giving the government the ability to track people's internet browsing, text messages, etc. But not too long ago, this information was leaked that big corporations like Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon were all contributing or at least related to this PRISM program. And then lastly, Google's search algorithm is full of biases and causes filter bubbles. So when you search on Google, since Google knows what sites you visited and what information you're interested in reading about, they can use that information to give priority to sites that they think that you're interested in looking for, which is great. It's definitely a convenient feature, but when you think about if you're looking for information about a political topic, for example, and Google only shows you stories from websites that you visit a lot, you might only be getting half of the actual information that's out there. So you end up in what's called a filter bubble, where someone might Google something, and because they see or they visit like liberal news sources a lot, they'll be shown news sources that are almost exclusively liberal news sources. And then you have another person who frequently reads conservative news sources, and they're only shown information from conservative news sources. So each person has their own kind of isolated view of what the truth is on a particular issue. And that's a problem because it leads to those people having polarized viewpoints, and they're never going to be able to agree on anything because the only information they're shown is the information that aligns with their political ideology. So those are 7 issues, 7 ugly truths, if you will, about Google that you should know about before using their products and before interacting with their services online.